Man, I love this card. First of all, I love the fact that Bam and Jaron are on the same card coming up. I think it's a really smart idea to mix fan bases. You've got an East Coast black fighter. You've got a West Coast Mexican fighter. Now these fans are going to have to intermingle. And you're going to see both of them are so phenomenally talented.
It is time for Boxing Scene's top stories only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I am George D. Metellus. Remember to download the ProBox TV app where apps are available. You get the full ProBox TV experience, which includes the great insights from our world champions. We have Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi joining us here on Top Stories. Well, the appearance of Jaron Boots Ennis and Jesse Bam Rodriguez November 9th in Philadelphia may lead to another fantastic Boots Bam doubleheader, with Rodriguez trainer Robert Garcia telling Lance Pugmire of BoxingScene.com that there are conversations that could lead to Ennis fighting unbeaten super welterweight Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Bam Rodriguez facing four-division champion Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez on the planned February 22nd Saudi Arabia card. Now, that February 22 date is also being targeted for the WBC lightweight title fight between champion Shakur Stevenson and number-one ranked contender El Camarón, William Cepeda. All right, Paulie, this is a situation that could set up a 5 versus 5, or sort of like a 5 versus 5. You have Eddie Hearn's Matchroom with Ennis and Shakur, and then Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy with Ortiz and Cepeda. What are your thoughts of those fights?
Yeah, I mean, this is your typical big blockbuster show that the Riyadh season has brought us. You know, if we can leave out some of the concerts and some of the other extracurricular stuff, this is exactly what boxing fans want. You know, Riyadh season has been giving it to us from a fight perspective. These matchups have been great. This would be amazing. And honestly, I'm not totally against Ennis trying at 154. Whatever happens, he can always go back down to 147, specifically against Virgil Ortiz, because Virgil Ortiz was a guy we were speaking about going head-to-head with Jaron when Virgil was fighting at 147. You know, there was a little bit of talk for a while that these two guys were going to be the stars of the weight class in the coming generation until Virgil had to move up in weight. So this particular matchup itself, even though it's out of Jaron Ennis's weight class, it's still a solid matchup because it's one that we were kind of salivating about and starting to talk about before it was taken away from us with Virgil needing to move up in weight. Plus, Jaron is a pretty big welterweight. What is he, about 5'10" or so? So you know, he's got a good physical stature for this kind of fight. Explosive fight. I mean, this thing could be dynamite. I mean, you got some dynamite in general. I think Bam Rodriguez might be a little too young and too much young youth energy for Chocolatito at this point, but it's still a fight you'd watch. It's still a fight you'd be interested in. But then also Shakur Stevenson and Camarón. I mean, that is another one because Shakur, as dazzling as he's been and outclassing all these fighters, people are still wondering about how he would deal with a puncher or a guy who brings all that kind of pressure that knows how to bring it to him physically as well. So we would get our answer there too. And Cepeda is a quality guy. And I think at this point, everybody agrees that Cepeda is a quality guy. So it's that kind of pressure quality that we're still curious to see Shakur Stevenson in against.
Yeah, there's reports that Bam and Chocolatito in sparring got heated there. Chocolatito was reporting that he got the best of those sessions against Bam, so that's adding some more spice to a possible fight there. The other way around there is Bam got the best of Chocolatito, and that's adding some spice to the fights there. So, Chris, what do you make of these bouts here with Ennis and Ortiz going up against Ennis versus Ortiz, and then Shakur Cepeda, and then possibly Bam versus Chocolatito, considering the heat in sparring between Bam and Chocolatito specifically?
George, please pump the brakes right now. Don't get me too excited for next year. This is we don't want to put the cart before the horse. We do this a lot. We still got these guys still have to fight, but man, I love this card. First of all, I love the fact that Bam and Jaron are on the same card coming up. I think it's a really smart idea to mix fan bases. You've got an East Coast black fighter. You've got a West Coast Mexican fighter. Now these fans are going to have to intermingle. And you're going to see both of them are so phenomenally talented that you can't not like the other guy. Especially now you have the fans who are actually going to be there. They're going to be tuning in to watch their favorite guy, and then they're watching the other guy. So it's one hand watches the other with these two, just like Paulie had said earlier. So it's a fantastic idea to put these guys on the same card. And in terms of what they're talking about down the line, come on. I mean, Jaron and Virgil, it's a fight that we were salivating for at welterweight. If it happens, I don't care where it happens. It could happen at 54, it could happen at 60. As long as it happens, I'm into it. And I don't think it really helps either guy to be in either whatever weight class. Obviously, Virgil can't make 47 anymore. But, Champ, you said he's a pretty big welterweight. Jaron is humongous. He is a huge welterweight. He may need to move up. This might not be something that he has an option to. He really might have to. And then going back down to 47 may not be a thing. If it is, great. I would like him to unify 147 because I think he is that talented before moving up. But, hey, man, you got to listen to your body. And if he can campaign at 54, going right into a fight with Virgil, I'm all for that. And then Bam and Chocolatito, man, I called this a while ago. When they said they were sparring, I'm like, that means Chocolatito wants the smoke. He wants another payday. And people are like, oh, but they're sparring partners now. They're friends. No, they're not. This is a prize fighting, guys. We're here to make money. I fought a bunch of my sparring partners in the past. It happens. And for these two guys, they're at the top of these weight classes. You've got a legend. You've got a current living legend. You got a future legend in Bam Rodriguez. Why not make that fight? They can both make money together. Even if they are friends, so what? You both make money. You both get the fight. It is what it is. But yeah, I agree with you, Champ. I would lean towards Bam. I think he's one of the best fighters in the world today. And Chocolatito, man, he not only is he old for boxing, he's old. He's really old for that weight class. So I would favor Bam, even with all the experience that Chocolatito has.
Paulie, is there one matchup of those three that gets you the most excited?
I'm a big Shakur Stevenson fan, so I'd love to see the Zepeda fight just because it's an opportunity to continue to raise the level of his game. He's a guy who's had trouble sort of bringing in the best fighters. They haven't always been so excited to try to fight him. So, if I could get him and Zepeda, that would be an amazing fight. But, for Bam and Chocolatito, that's more of a showcase fight for Bam against a future first ballot Hall of Famer who's probably past his prime. But Ennis and Virgil, that's going to be, when I talk about the timing and the fighters have to fight at the right time, you'd get these two guys when they are very, very hungry. And so they're at their most destructive and famished, where they're still trying to, build their reputation and build their name. So you get them head to head in that. And that at this time in their careers, you get a great fight out of that.
Yeah, which one of those three matchups, Chris, intrigues you the most, or are you most excited to see?
I actually don't think we see Shakur Zepeda right away. Shakur coming off a hand surgery, injury and surgery just recently. January is right around the corner, man. January is really close. Champ, you know how hand injuries take. There is no timeline. They'll tell you what it is, but there's no timeline on a hand injury.
And you don't want to test it against a guy with a heart like Zepeda either.
You're not going to throw him right into a guy who's going to be all over.
You're going to have to hit him a lot, and you got to throw him punches.
If you're not trusting, in that hand, Zepeda's the wrong guy. I don't see that fight happening in January. There's probably going to be a get-back fight, so he can get the confidence and reassurance that hand is strong and he can throw it for real, because he's going to need to throw it for real when he fights Zepeda. Zepeda's going to be all over him, so he's going to need to get that respect, and he's going to have to hit him solid and clean and have that confidence that he can do that. But in terms of a fair fight, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Champ. It's Ennis and Ortiz. That fight at this stage, this is what it used to be in the 80s. We had these guys fighting in their mid-20s. And that's what you want. You're at your physical best. Maybe you're not as good as you're going to be experience-wise, but in terms of your physical talent and gifts, this is where it should happen. And not to mention, it's easier to recover from these kinds of fights when you're younger. So even if these guys fight now, they might end up fighting later. They got long careers ahead of them. A lot of times we get these guys fight like an Errol Spence and Crawford fight. These guys are close to their mid-30s. It's much more damaging. You don't get time to recover.
And that's the thing too. Western fighters tend to be more popular than Eastern fighters, right? Because the West is sort of the capital of boxing, or it has been, even though that could move or whatever to Saudi Arabia, be as it may. But right now, the West is still the capital of boxing. So when I always say that the Eastern fighters are willing to fight in their primes and they're willing to go at it head to head and they deserve respect,
well, they have no choice.
It's not. Yes, sometimes they have no choice, but I don't even think they care, honestly, because they're not even thinking about being the best star.
Yeah.
They want to be a star, but they want to be the best. While Western fighters look to pick up a brand and look to make the most money and all that sort of stuff, which again, I'm not against it, but you do this to be the best. So when you get two Western fighters looking to be fighting in their prime, looking to be the best, I think that's going to generate more momentum because, again, the fan bases in the West are, you create more stars that way. Eastern fighters doing it, it's a great fight, but there's not a lot of following as much as there is in the West in that way.
Yeah, that fight at 154. Boots Ennis, 27 years old, 5'10", undefeated. Virgil Ortiz, 26 years old, 5'10", undefeated. That would be a great fight at 154. And Boots Ennis, another name to add into that deep pool of talent at 154 in boxing. That certainly be fascinating. February 22nd is the targeted date. Nothing has been confirmed yet, but when it does, or hopefully it does, let me put it that way, that we do have that confirmation on February 22nd, we will update you and have more reaction to it here on Top Stories. Quick reminder to scan the QR code, like, subscribe, and leave your comments on our YouTube channel. Download the ProBox TV app where apps are available, and get ready for a great event Friday, November 1st, live from Belfast, Northern Ireland. It's going to be a great card with McCrory going up against Carrillo as the main event. The champs and Jimmy Smith will be in Northern Ireland. Oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I could go. Anyway, it's going to be a great fight. You definitely don't want to miss it here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I'm George DeMatteis, and this is Boxing Scene's Top Stories.
November 1st, ProBox TV makes its European debut in collaboration with Conlan Boxing. This stacked card starts with hometown fighter Padraig the Hammer McCrory returning to the ring to take on the hard-hitting Colombian Leonard Carrillo. And in the co-main, the UK's Robbie Davies Jr. clashes with former two-weight world champ Javier Fortuna of the Dominican Republic. Live from the SSE Arena in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.